Last week, I posted a video going over Nintendo's entire 2025 lineup and how good I think it is for the first year of Switch 2, especially when you take into account those Switch 2 additions, the new content in those games, as well as stuff like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and Pokemon Legends EA, which are also releasing on the Switch 1. And a lot of people agreed with me, however, there was a very common sentiment in the comment section that there is still one thing missing. There is one big major Switch 2 exclusive missing from the lineup. So that's what we're talking about today. Is Nintendo still hiding a major game for their holiday lineup for the Switch 2, or will it just be more Switch 2 editions, remasters, that kind of thing? As always, if you are new here and you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 speculation, theories, discussion, reviews, all that fun stuff, I would appreciate you subscribing. Let's get into it. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the channel. Wanted to hop on here and do some speculation. The Mario Kart World Direct is behind us. Of course, the Switch 2 Direct itself is behind us. And while the launch is on June 5th, and I am so excited to play Mario Kart World and get my hands on the console, my mind is starting to race a little bit at the possibility of there being something else, maybe in a June Nintendo Direct. And with how many comments I got that shared the feeling that there is a major exclusive missing from the holiday lineup, I wanted to hop on here and speculate on whether or not they could announce something in a potential June Direct for this holiday. So just to give you a recap of what we know is releasing in 2025, and once again, I think this is a fantastic lineup. However, I do understand what people mean when they say it kind of feels like there's something missing here. So obviously on June 5th, we have a lot of stuff. We have Mario Kart World, both of the Zelda 4K remasters, as well as the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. On July 17th, we have Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's your first major exclusive game after launch. Then a week later, there is the Switch 2 edition of Mario Party Jamboree and the Jamboree TV expansion. Then on August 28th, we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition plus Starcross World. And then from there, we have quite a few titles that do not have release dates, some with windows, some without anything. So Dragon Drive, that new basketball wheelchair game, quick update on this. It is confirmed to be digital only. Buried in the Ask the Developer interviews, it does say it is a digital title. So I wanted to clarify that from my video the other day, my hands-on impressions of Dragon Drive, which were very negative. But that is slated for summer, so we know that is coming as an eShop exclusive title. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is slated for 2025, as well as Pokemon Legends EA, which is, I believe, fall 2025 or late 2025 is the wording they've used. But we also have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment as a winter 2025 game, and then, of course, Kirby Air Riders from Masahiro Sakurai, that is just slated for 2025. So, not really talking about Dragon Drive here. We have four major undated games: Metroid, Pokemon, Hyrule Warriors, and Kirby Air Riders. And for me, as someone who plays most Nintendo franchises, I love Pokemon, I love Metroid and Zelda and Kirby. I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, we get a game every month. If Kirby and the Forgotten Lands DLC is our August thing, maybe you throw Dragon Drive in August as well. Okay, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, that can be your September game. Hyrule Warriors could be October, then November could be Pokemon Legends EA, and then December could be Kirby Air Riders. Mix and match them however you want. Basically, right now, it looks like we have one game a month. However, two of those are Switch 1 games. Even though they have Switch 2 editions, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and Pokemon Legends EA are not exclusive. And I think for a lot of people, when trying to justify the $450 price tag on this console, they're looking at the exclusives. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond and Pokemon, I'm so excited to play those on Switch 2, and I think Nintendo internally is certainly going to view them as Switch 2 games, but they're not exclusive. They're not necessarily system sellers. Some people will definitely buy a Switch 2 to play Prime 4 with mouse controls, and I'm sure a lot of Pokemon fans will want to upgrade for Legends EA, but if we're talking actual exclusives, having just Hyrule Warriors and Kirby Air Riders as your holiday games does feel a little weird. So funnily enough, Nintendo has sort of put themselves in the same situation that Sony put themselves in for the first half of the PS5 generation, where you had games like Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok being announced in PlayStation 5 showcases, and for a lot of people being viewed as PS5 games, but also they did come to PS4, and while maybe not in the real world, maybe most people don't really think about, oh, God of War Ragnarok is on PS4. Those big PS5 games also being on PS4, I think certainly hurt the perception of PS5 as a whole, because a lot of people look at God of War 2018, they're like, okay, well, it already looks really good, it runs really well, I'll just play Ragnarok on my PS4 instead of upgrading to a PS5. I think a lot of people will look at Prime 4 and Pokemon and just say, well, I already have a Switch. Like I said, I do think a lot of people will upgrade for the 60 FPS version of Pokemon and the mouse controls and all that in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, but a lot of the more casual crowd will likely look at this lineup and say, so there's two exclusives, and it's Hyrule Warriors and it's Kirby Air Riders. Kirby Air Riders is very cool and very surprising. I'm really happy they're making a new one of those, and I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game from Sakurai, but it is the second exclusive racing game in a lineup that already has Mario Kart World, so that's a little weird. But then also Hyrule Warriors, I love Warriors games, and even I am like, I don't really want more Zelda Warriors, certainly not more, Breath of the Wild era, Tears of the Kingdom era, Warrior stuff in that art style, in that setting. So even though I'm excited for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Warriors is already really niche. We already have so many versions and different entries in the Hyrule Warriors series when you count for like the 3DS port and the definitive edition. We've had so many different releases of Hyrule Warriors. I think a lot of people are going to look at that and just be like, here's another one. Even though I know it'll sell well because it is Zelda, it is just like, it's another Hyrule Warriors. So when looking at the Switch 2's lineup through the end of 2025, you really only have 4 exclusives in 6 months. You have Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, and Kirby Air Riders, which, when combined with the Switch 2 editions they're releasing, the new content, and stuff like Forgotten Land and Mario Party Jamboree, I personally am like, I'm content with how much is releasing. However, I totally get what people mean when it feels like there is something missing. So let's talk about it. What could Nintendo be hiding up their sleeves when it comes to a big holiday release this year? To be honest, even though I am happy with the lineup, I do think there is at least something else, even if it's not like a fully new exclusive, even if it is just a remaster or a remake or something as a Switch 2 game, I do think we will get something. To me, what tells us that is Donkey Kong Bonanza releasing in July. If they didn't have something else Mario or Mario adjacent releasing in that October-November timeframe, why would Donkey Kong not be saved for holiday? Or even the Switch 2 edition of Mario Party Jamboree, that is something that they would totally save for October. They're putting that out in July for some reason, even though that game released in October of last year. Mario Party is always a holiday thing, but this time they're putting it out in July. So because DK Bonanza and Mario Party Jamboree are releasing so soon after the Switch 2, because we have no Mario games slated for this holiday, when it is Mario's 40th anniversary coming up, I think we are absolutely getting something Mario. The question is, what exactly is that? Is it a core 3D game? Is it a Switch 2 edition of an old game? Is it another re-release of 3D All-Stars? Is it a new Super Mario Bros. Collection? Is it some sort of spin-off like a Mario Sports game? It really could be anything, but I think when we look at what we have so far for 2025, something else Mario as a Switch 2 exclusive, even if it is just new content in an old game, that feels very necessary almost. Maybe Nintendo's viewing their big holiday Mario game as Mario Kart World. Certainly, it will be selling like gangbusters this Christmas. But with DK Bonanza in July, it definitely feels like something Mario is missing in the holiday period. So let's go down the laundry list. What Mario game could they release for the Switch 2 to make the Switch 2's exclusive lineup feel a little bit stronger here? The issue is, a lot of what I think makes sense right now in terms of Mario is old content. And a lot of that, it feels like they would just release on Switch 1, where we know they're going to keep supporting Switch 1 with games like Tomodachi Life next year, which is huge. But let's talk about Mario's anniversary, right? For the 35th anniversary, we had Mario 35, the Battle Royale game, but we also had Mario 3D All-Stars, the collection of 64 Sunshine and Galaxy. It was a limited time release. It still managed to sell like 7 or 8 million copies. Could we see that come back as a Switch 2 thing? That feels weird to me. But it is Nintendo, and if they want to really incentivize people to buy their new console, a re-release of 3D All-Stars that includes 3D Land and Galaxy 2 would be pretty cool. It is old content, but it is like the best old content, you know? So I wonder if that's an option, or like I mentioned, maybe instead of getting a 3D All-Stars, maybe we go back and do a new Super Mario Bros. Collection. I know a lot of people feel fatigued by those games, even though it's been so long at this point. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is one of the best-selling Switch games. I think at some point we will see Nintendo repackage DS, Wii, and New Super Mario Bros. 2 in one bundle. Maybe we see that for the 40th anniversary, and that could be like a Switch 2 thing. But even still, like, those are 2D Mario games. I don't know. I just feel like that could just be a Switch 1 thing. And on the subject of 2D Mario, I talked in my video about Switch 2 editions last week. I think a Switch 2 edition of Mario Wonder is like a lock. I actually think this is extremely likely. Whether or not it happens this holiday remains to be seen, but we look at all of the 2023 games that didn't get DLC. You look at a Tears of the Kingdom, you look at Pikmin 4 and Mario Wonder, and I just feel like the reason we didn't get updates for these titles is because they were planning Switch 2 editions with updates, with new worlds, with new content. So Mario Wonder and Pikmin 4, honestly, I think could both get Switch 2 editions. Either of them could be this year, but it still falls into the issue of like, well, that's not really a new thing. Even if Mario Wonder has a meaty new expansion, it's not necessarily like that exciting because it is just an old game, up-res in 4K, 120 FPS, I would imagine, with a couple new worlds. Like, I would be very excited for that, but it still doesn't really fit the issue of there not being a massive exclusive. But it does help the issue. So if we get some more Switch 1 ports like a Woolly World, which has leaked seemingly through the Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd, in the US version, there was like this new artwork. So Woolly World is for sure happening, in my opinion. It's just a matter of when, not if. And I guess that could kind of fill in like a Mario holiday title a little bit. But something like Woolly World on Switch 1 maybe has a Switch 2 edition on top of a new Super Mario Bros. Collection, on top of a Wonder Switch 2 edition. Like, if you have enough old content, maybe with some new levels in there or something, that would help the lack of a true exclusive a little bit, I think. But maybe we're thinking too small. Maybe it won't be a remake, a re-release, a Switch 2 edition. Could we get a sequel to Wonder so soon? Could we get a new 2D Mario? It would be a 2-year turnaround, but once again, that game had no DLC. It was likely done a while before it actually released. Nintendo likes to sit on games. Could they just have a sequel to Wonder ready? I'm sure there were tons and tons of ideas for Mario Wonder that they were not able to implement in that game in time. Maybe they're just cranking out a Galaxy 2 style sequel, and that could be like our big October holiday game. Because while Hyrule Warriors and Kirby Air Riders are very exciting to their respective fan bases, they're not going to sell 2D Mario numbers. They're not going to sell consoles in the way that a new 2D Mario game would. So honestly, while I think a Switch 2 edition of Mario Wonder is likelier, I could see a reality where they just went all in on a Mario Wonder sequel, and that could be our big holiday game this year. Of course, there's also the matter of 3D Mario. I feel like I should mention it just because I don't think there's a chance that we get 3D Mario this year. Maybe next spring or summer or something at the earliest. But with Mario Kart World, with DK Bonanza, 3D Mario on top of that, that would just be, I mean, I would love that, right? Let's just dream for the sky. Yeah, give me my new 3D Mario game this year. But like, realistically speaking, I just feel like it's too soon. That would be an incredible thing for them to save for a June Direct to surprise us and, kind of stop the naysayers on the Switch. Like, hey, you're getting your new Mario Kart, your new DK 3D game, all these cool new entries and smaller franchises, but also a 3D Mario. Like, that would like take the 2025 lineup and put it so above any other year of Nintendo for me. That would just be incredible. I just don't think it's really realistic to expect it. Maybe next summer, maybe next spring, maybe we see it announced this year, but I just don't think releasing it so soon after DK, that feels weird to me. But I would obviously love if that were the case. There are some other options when it comes to Mario games, though, be it a spin-off. I do actually think Ubisoft will re-release 4K versions of Kingdom Battle and Sparks of Hope, but once again, not really a new thing. It'd be neat. I don't think Nintendo would even really market that much, to be honest with you. That'd be more on the Ubisoft side of things. A Mario sports game, though. It's been a long time for Camelot. They've been cooking something. Could we see Mario Tennis take the holiday slots? This is the longest gap we've ever had without a new Mario Tennis game. It is the best-selling Mario Sports sub-series. The timing is right. Camelot has never gone more than 4 years without releasing a game until now. So if they've been cooking the biggest Mario Sports game ever for the Switch 2, that could be ready. I actually think that is something that is, even if it's not releasing this year, likely done or very close to being finished development, and we could see it early next year. Usually these are summer games, but also, like I said earlier, Mario Party, I know it's an update, but Mario Party is always a holiday thing, and we're getting Jamboree TV in the summer. So maybe Mario Sports is going to be that big October game, or maybe it could even be a September thing, right? So maybe some sort of Mario Sports game, probably tennis, could be like a holiday game this year as a Switch 2 exclusive. Once again, not really for everybody, but it would definitely help the lineup feel a little bit more balanced, I think. And hey, man, I love Mario Tennis Aces. I actually think that's one of the best Mario Sports games. I really, really enjoyed that game. So if we just got a bigger Mario Tennis, that'd be really cool. Or even baseball or something new entirely, as long as it's not on the Mario Strikers tier from Next Level, which leads me to my final potential big Mario game for 2025. What if it's Luigi's Mansion 4? We've already seen Luigi's Mansion carry a holiday before in 2019. Of course, it was accompanied by Link's Awakening and Pokemon Sword and Shield, but Luigi's Mansion 3 was Nintendo's like big Mario game for 2019 holiday. Next Level usually releases a game every 3 years. So in 2016, they had Federation Force. In 2019, they had Luigi's Mansion 3. And in 2022, they had Mario Strikers Battle League. So following that 3-year cycle, we are actually kind of due for another Next Level game. I'm a little hesitant to predict them though, because this would be their first time making a 4K game. They're learning the new hardware. Are they really going to get the sequel to Luigi's Mansion 3, one of the best-selling Switch games? Are they going to get that out so soon after Strikers? I'd be shocked if we don't see this game by next holiday, but also seeing it this year would definitely subvert my expectations, but that would totally fix it, I think, for a lot of people. If we get into that June Direct and they close on like Luigi's Mansion 4 as a big October game, and then you also have all the Switch 2 editions, and you also have Kirby and Hyrule Warriors, like, that would be still just a totally banger lineup, and it would be pretty exciting just to, like, have that subversion of, oh, everybody thought we were getting 3D Mario. Well, actually, we got a 3D Donkey Kong game, but then also we're getting Luigi's Mansion 4 in year 1, which no one really had on their bingo cards. Something like that, I think, actually is possible. I'm still a little hesitant. It feels a little soon for next level, but Mario Strikers really didn't have that much going on in it. I can't imagine that took the entirety of their team, probably not even really half of it. That was their COVID game, so most of that development was during COVID. Could they have started development on Luigi's Mansion 4 in, let's say, 2021 or early 2022, and now we have, 3.5, almost 4 years of development time for the next Luigi's Mansion game, a sequel to one of the best sellers on Switch 1 as a year 1 Switch 2 game? That'd be pretty cool. I think that might be the true answer when we're not talking about a Switch 2 edition of Mario Wonder or a collection of all the new Soup games or, Galaxy 2. We're not talking a sports game. We're talking like a core tentpole title. Luigi's Mansion might be the answer to our question. Regardless, I do think Nintendo is hiding something. Even if it's not a fully new game, there's got to be something else in terms of ports, more Switch 1 games that maybe will have Switch 2 editions, updates for old Switch 1 games, that kind of thing, to fill up that holiday lineup even more. Because while yes, right now we have one game per month when you account for Pokemon and Metroid, honestly, usually we get a little bit more than that in the holiday period. There are often times where we get a new Nintendo game like every 3, sometimes even every 2 weeks. Holiday 2019 was absolutely packed when you account for stuff they published like Daemon X Machina and Astral Chain, Link's Awakening, Dragon Quest XI. You had Pokemon Sword and Shield. You had, I think, a fitness boxing game that year. Like, they had a new game like every 2 to 3 weeks from September all the way through to December. And for them to only have one game every month in 2025, in year 1 of their new console, that would feel a little weird. So I do think there's more coming, but I also do think Nintendo is going to really push the third-party support on Switch 2. At the time of recording, we just got the release date for Star Wars Outlaws, which, yes, is an old game, but it's the first time we've had like a modern Star Wars game on a Nintendo platform in a very long time. That's coming out on September 4th. So could we see Nintendo really pushing a game like that, or Elden Ring, which doesn't currently have a release date? Maybe there's plenty more to announce in the June Direct, like the Resident Evil games or something else, right? Those are old games, but we saw them do something similar in 2017 where Nintendo actually didn't release a Switch first-party game in November 2017. That entire month, of course, was accompanied by Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon on the 3DS, but for Switch, it was Rocket League and Skyrim and Doom. Could we see them do something similar this holiday? Maybe, but I don't think it would be to the same extent. But yeah, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think Nintendo is hiding some sort of big holiday game for the Switch 2, be it a true exclusive, be it an upgrade of a Switch 1 game, or be it a remaster of something else? I would love to get a conversation going down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch content, coverage, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Check out my other channel at It's Amiibo, and you can click on one of these 2 videos to listen to me ramble about even more Nintendo stuff. Until next time, folks. Peace.